Let's do something here. So let's say we have something that needs to log events, right? Like some user behavior or something like that. And these event logging should also enrich with some other data that we will get later in our code flow. So the idea is we won't have all the information initially. We will get information as we go down the flow of code, and we have to keep on enriching into it. So this is usually a good case for composition, functional composition, and let's see how we can use currying and curried function to compose function here. Yeah. So the ultimate thing we want to do is enrich with user data. So this is what we want to do. And basically it's a function that accepts two parameters. Okay, so one is an event object and the other is a user data object. We can even just call it user data. It would be an object. Yeah. So now, okay, let's get out of this. I'm using const, so I'll use an arrow function. Yeah. So what it would do is it would just combine and split. So it will spread it. It will spread the event object, and it will spread the user data, and then return as one single object. So this is what this thing would do. So let's say we have another function named log event. So this thing will take in an event. Then what it would do is it will basically create an object of its own. Let's say type is like ev dot type, and what else we have? I have an example thing here, so just copy that like an example object. Yeah, and sample this, and then embed from. This is just an example. We could have anything that we need here. Yeah, emitted from should be like source or emitted. Yeah, like source. So this is all this log event does. This is the base thing that it does. So let's move further now. How we can do this into how we can convert this into a composable function by using the concept that we have seen earlier, which is the curry. Let's do something like uh, compose logger, and so this will be our currying function here. The compose logger is our curried function here. So what it would take in is a function as an input. So it would take a base logger as an input, and then what it would do is it would return another function. Let's keep it like this for now. So what do we expect here? How do we expect it to be called? So it should be called in like two ways, right? So first, it should receive the event object, and during the first invocation, which is the in the partial application, when we supply the first argument will be the event object, and the second object that we'll be passing in will be some user data that we will get along the flow, down the flow. Yeah. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be like the classical function. It can also be an arrow function, because we just need to return a function. So this thing will take in our event object, and then what it would do is we have two levels, right? So user data, something like this. Yeah. So this is what we would be expecting it to do. We already have this external function which combines these two objects together. So we just need to return an applied version of that. Yeah. So let me enrich with user data. As usual, we will apply it. So apply accepts a context. First thing is it accepts an event object, and the event object is basically built by this log event, right? And that's the input function we pass here. So base logger. So what we will do is we will invoke that with the event data, and then we will pass along the user data. So this is pretty much it. We have composed it in a way that we can call one argument at a time. Let's see how we could use this. Uh, so let me query this thing. So let's say composite logger. So we have to query the uh, base logging function, which is the log event, right? So that's what we are going to do. We'll log event here. And once this is created, now what we can do is we can call it in a partially applicable way. Like we can use partial applications on it. Yeah, one parameter, one argument at a time. Yeah. So let me copy these mock objects that I have created here. So let's say we know the event, we get the event here. So now let's build the event. So that would be like this event. So we can use this compose logger here and can pass in the mock event. So now this is one partial application of it. Now let's say down the line in the code we get the user info. So let's do that. So yeah, we have this, and then down the business logic, we get the user data from somewhere, and then what we could do is enriched event object. So what we can do now is we already have the base event, which is a partial application of our query function here. We can call the second argument on it. So now we have to call the mock user data. So now we have called it in a unary fashion, like the function accepts just one argument at a time. Yeah. So let's see if this does that. So it's a console table because it's better to visualize objects on the console. And it's empty for some reason. Emitted from probably this. But that's not the case because the entire thing is empty. It should be a combined object here. Let's see what we get in the enrichment thing. So we run this one, undefined. Why this is happening is because of the apply. The thing is with apply, we should always give it as an array, right? So, but the thing is, haven't done that here. We are not passing it as an array. So one easy fix could be to use call. Yeah. And by this, now I don't have to pass in as an array. I can just pass in as individual elements and I'll still get the composed event out of it. Yeah.